Hey, first of all, shout out to Jay-Z in this time of him being preyed upon probably by this ridiculous lawsuit from this 13-year-old, but that's another topic. I want to get into part two of my analysis of Jay-Z and DeHaven. Now, DeHaven is going to go into explaining, at some point, Jay-Z and them kind of blamed DeHaven for caving, implied he did some type of informing, but he explains why that's not what happened. And in fact, I found a big newspaper article out of the Baltimore paper, because it was a big deal. It's from 1999, saying he was absolutely tortured by the case. A federal judge has acquitted 3 men accused of being Eastern Shore D dealers, ruling the government did not prove they were involved in the conspiracy in which they were charged. It is far more important that the rule of law be upheld, even if the price is that 3 people engaged in dealing DRUGs go free, the judge said. It dismayed the U.S. Attorney's Office, who had won a seemingly steady stream of major convictions involving conspiracies, including one this week of the infamous John Liddy Jones. So this is the same guy that did the case of the guy that was interviewed in my Frank Matthews documentary. Howard Margolis, attorney for defendant DeHaven John Irby, said his client broke down in tears when Motz announced his decision. Irby had 2 previous drug convictions and faced a lengthy prison term. But Margolis said Irby, 30, had not been involved in dealing for 5 years and had moved to North Carolina, where he worked for a hospital. He had taken a turn for a better in his life. So basically, this is the case. So there was 2 overlapping conspiracies. There's a guy named Cleavon Tyrone Johnson in, I think, there's a couple cities in the Eastern Shore. The Eastern Shore it's not really suburban Baltimore. It's a part of Maryland that has some kind of small rundown, well, it has some nice towns, it has some small rundown towns where there's some DRUG activity, and that's where Jay-Z, Emory, and DeHaven were working at one point, and then they stopped. And this Jay-Z was apparently, right at the time in my lifetime was coming out, Jay-Z was still doing some stuff down in Maryland, so that all that stuff about him being some big kingpin, maybe, unless there was Desiree Perez's husband, OG Juan, but that's another story. But so there was a conspiracy that involved Emory Jones, Emory, who got out, salute to him, that Jay-Z's been looking out for, and this guy Cleavon Tyrone Johnson. And somehow DeHaven's name was still kind of mixed up down there, but he had stopped for 5 years. And in this case, the Baltimore attorney, Rod Rosenstein, who was very aggressive, tried to combine these 2 conspiracies, what DeHaven and them had done 6-7 years prior, because he had stopped at this point, and what Emory and them were doing then. And the judge said it's just too much. As we know, they love making these RICOs and tying different people together. But in this instance, he put his foot down and said, listen, Mr. DeHaven hasn't been involved in anything for over 5 years. Wasn't because he told on anything. And Cleavon Tyrone Johnson and Emory got their 11 or 12 year sentences. Emory got out, of course, and went on to work with New Balance and all kind of stuff with Jay-Z. Unfortunately for Mr. Cleavon Johnson, who also, him and Emory got out a couple years early when they did the sentencing reduction some years back. Emory went on to work with Jay-Z, or had jobs lined up with Jay-Z. That was his man. Cleavon Johnson was not out for six months. Let's see. Cleavon. Okay, so Mr. Johnson got out early. Johnson was released from federal prison in December 2010. So these guys, Emory and them, had this case back in 99-ish. after his sentence for an earlier conviction for dealing crack was reduced. Within 1 month, Mr. Johnson was back in the business of dealing. Mr. Johnson did not learn the first time he went to prison, and he got caught. They ran in a house that they connected him to 10 bricks, bricked up another loose brick, a quarter of cooked, and some other stuff. And then he had a address in Baltimore that had paraphernalia and some money. And they gave him another 11 years. So that's back in 2011. And he's out yet again. So he just recently got out. Wish him the best. But so that's the chaos of these conspiracy cases. Jay-Z and DeHaven kind of stopped, I guess, in 95, 6 when the music started going. Jay-Z did the music, DeHaven went and got a regular job. Emory was still doing his thing. He gets caught in a conspiracy. They try to put DeHaven in it from his name being associated years back. The judge puts his foot down and says no. That's why Emory got locked up. He was still, according to the feds, doing stuff. He got out, changed his life around, and this Cleavon Ty Johnson wasn't out a couple more months, got another case and did another 10 or 11. So it's a roll of the dice out there in the streets. I'll let DeHaven tell you the story. When did Jay get back, start going back to New York and meeting Dame and trying to get back into the music heavy, or was he always back and forth?
Nah, he was always back and forth in the music. When we go to New York, I'm going to take care of business and run the street. Jay go in the studio and mess with music.
And how long of a drive? Like it's what, like 5 hours?
No, yeah, it's 4 hours, 5 hours.
So you could damn near go up. You didn't even have to spend a night necessarily.
This is what I'm telling you. This is why my trips, like, I would flip this money so fast. Like, if I'm gonna sell 4 bricks and I gotta sell for four more bricks, I'm going to get that, and you know.
So you're going a couple times a week sometimes.
Yeah, up into my connect said, don't come back up here with all that money. We'll come and get it. We don't even need you. Don't come up here no more. Like, you know, things, like I said, when you get to a certain level in this shit, man, it gets
they make it easy for you.
Yeah, they make it easier for you. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of got to that point. Because I was carrying a lot. I was carrying a load, bro. I was carrying a serious load of guys with me.